A soldier writes about his comrades from the battlefield, promising to remember their service, their sacrifice, promising to tell their story to future generations. The Johns Creek Veterans Association. We are veterans, and we will never forget the sacrifices of our fellow veterans, and we will honor them by telling their stories and preserving their legacies for future generations.
My name is William Robert Novinger. I was born March 1st, 1926.
I'm Herbert Walters. I was born in 1926, so next month I'll be 90 years old.
I'm Art Charlo. I was born in Chicago in 1927.
My name is Edward J. Nolan, born of mother and father, Luke and Ann Nolan, in 1933. I'm that old.
I joined the Air Force. I went to Sampson Air Force Base in New York. I was in Flight 3395 basic training.
Orders came through for my assignment to a gasoline tanker, the USS Agawam AOG-6, which was home ported in Pearl Harbor.
My name is Gilbert Bartman. I enlisted in the Army Air Corps in 1946.
My name's Mike Roman. I did 2 tours in Vietnam. I enlisted in the Army in March of 1968.
The JCVA, if we go back to its earliest origins from a conceptual standpoint, was somewhat the idea of retired Marine Major General James Livingston. General Livingston himself is a Georgia native, a recipient of the Medal of Honor for actions in Vietnam in 1968 when he served in Echo Company, 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines. And he, in discussions with then City Manager John Kackmeyer, also a veteran, saw a need to have a veterans organization in Johns Creek, and they basically put together the idea that ultimately became the Johns Creek Veterans Association. They developed a charter. Our charter gives us 3 basic functions, and one certainly is to honor and remember the service of our brothers and sisters. Secondly, to provide services to assist returning veterans in their transition. And lastly, to have a social function amongst veterans to essentially, the one thing that veterans miss, I think, coming out of the service is that camaraderie, and essentially to have a social organization that would provide that type of camaraderie. So that's the basic mission of the Johns Creek Veterans Association.
When veterans come together with a mission, good things happen. Over the past few years, the Johns Creek Veterans Association has become an integral part of the community. The Veterans Memorial Walk at Newton Park stands as a symbol of remembrance and respect for all the men and women in the United States Armed Services. The 4-acre memorial features a hard-scraped trail with granite monuments paying homage to each conflict, beginning with World War I, and includes special monuments for Purple Heart recipients. The Veterans Memorial Walk was a long-term project that required enormous contributions of time and energy from members, as well as generous support from individuals and corporations who provided financial support and in-kind services. The Veterans Memorial Walk is perhaps the most visible manifestation of the organization's mission, but that's not where the mission stops by any means.
Other things that we have done or continue to do, we have a very active color guard. This year alone, the color guard has or will be performing a presentation of the colors at over 20 events. That is, perhaps from a public standpoint, one of the most visible means, and we essentially use the Color Guard as our community ambassadors.
In recent years, JCVA members have also participated in the Adopt a Road program for Johns Creek, helping to maintain a portion of Nesbitt Ferry Road. The JCVA supports the Public Safety Foundation by providing support to police officers and their families.
Recently, we had a Johns Creek police officer lose his wife to cancer and provided some funds for the family. We've also made donations to the Public Safety Foundation to help our first responders. We feel a kinship, certainly with our first responders who wear a uniform of a different type but continue to serve the community.
One of the primary missions of the Johns Creek Veterans Association is to preserve the memories and legacies of veterans through oral histories. As a part of a national oral history project in conjunction with the Library of Congress, the JCVA has engaged the Storyline Group, an Atlanta-based company specializing in histories, to capture each veteran's story in their own words.
And I spent the next almost 3 years on board the USS Bataan. We went through the whole war, all the way up to the end, and we were in Tokyo Bay when the war was over.
At 17, I enlisted in the New York National Guard, 71st Infantry. I was assigned to H Company, which was heavy weapons. And here I was, 120-pound, 17-year-old, carrying an 80-pound base plate for an 81mm mortar. I thought I was in the heaven. I loved it. I was military all the way.
As they look to the future, veterans have come to realize how important it is to tell their stories for young people and future generations.
The Oral History Project cannot be understated as in its significance, because I think the idea of passing to the future generations the concept of service and sacrifice is critical.
The Johns Creek Veterans Association is accomplishing great things for veterans, their families, and the community of Johns Creek. But they cannot do it alone. Our hope is that you will join us in this important mission. Help us honor and preserve the legacies of those who offered their service and sacrifice so we can all share in the freedoms we enjoy as Americans.